between October 28th and October 30th by Syrian security forces. We are continuing to make our case in every interaction we have, both with our UN Security Council partners, but also with countries in the region and our allies around the world, that we've got to continue to increase the pressure on the Assad regime, the political pressure, but also the economic pressure. And no country should be selling weapons to this regime. No country should be aiding and abetting the regime by trading with it.
There are also allegations that many of the killings have occurred also by carried out by opponents, armed opponents of the regime. Do you concur, or do you have any information on that?
Our view of this, our analysis is that the vast, vast, vast majority of the violence in Syria is propagated today at the hands of the regime. And to the degree that you have some acts of violence on the other side, it is the Assad regime's unremitting, unrelenting violence of its own that is causing some reaction.
Could you foresee a scenario where the allegation that 10,000 Syrian soldiers have defected, would you foresee a scenario where these would have like a safe haven in the north, aided and supported and protected by Turkey and perhaps the United States?
Again, Saeed, where we are today, the vast majority of the Syrian opposition are saying that they don't want this situation further militarized, that they don't want foreign intervention. What they want is for the Assad regime's violence to stop so dialogue can begin. Andy? Yeah. Anything else on Syria?
Is there any specific date for Ambassador Ford to go back to Syria?
We've spoken about this before. He has bought his Thanksgiving turkey for his staff in Syria. He would like to be back in time to have Thanksgiving dinner in Damascus.
Moving to Afghanistan, the Kabul attack over the weekend, and I was wondering if you had any further information on that. There's been a lot of speculation that there's some Haqqani link to it, although nobody seems to have nailed that down. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that, and if you've had any communication with Pakistan on intelligence regarding Haqqani movements and so on, either related to that attack or otherwise.
I don't have anything particularly new. I think you know that ISAF and Afghan authorities are conducting an investigation, so I think we need to let that go forward and not get ahead of that. Please.
There's been reports that the South Korean unification minister is going to be here this week. Is he meeting anyone at State Department?
I do have those reports that he's here. I don't have a list of his meetings. Why don't we take that for you? We'll get back to you. Thanks. Anything else in the back?
Now the world population is over 7 billion.
Yeah, that first baby of the 7 billion was born.
People's worrying about the poverty and food shortage or something like that, environment. So what U.S. government can do that for that issues, or so what do you think about it? What is your comment for that?
Well, I think you know that we have extensive programs all around the world that are designed to mitigate the effects of environmental damage, to support water programs and water sharing, to support health programs, to support population programs around the world, both through UN organizations and through our bilateral programs with countries around the world. So those will obviously continue. Yeah. Andy?
I have one I submitted over the weekend I'm still interested in. With all the talk of Saif al-Islam potentially being in Niger, there have been reports which Niger officials have confirmed that there was a U.S. team in Agadez, a U.S. military plane, unknown U.S. personnel. I'm just wondering if you can tell us who was there and what they were doing.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I'm sorry we weren't able to get back to you over the weekend. We did have a U.S. military plane in Agadez last week. It was carrying a small team of U.S. military personnel who met with local military leaders and units. This is part of our conversation about potential military-to-military partnership, and the visit was unrelated to the case of Saif Gaddafi.
Was it when can you tell us when it was actually scheduled? I mean,
it was a previously planned routine visit at the invitation of the Nigerian government, and it's part of our effort to enhance our partnership with Niger in the area of security capability. I think you know that in April of this year we were able to lift previously held sanctions and restrictions on Niger, so we are now moving into the category of trying to figure out what we can do together, military to military. As we've talked about, they have a long uncontrolled border and other things.
And that they've left now?
They've left
They
now,
departed,
yes,
okay.
yes, the team is gone.
Were you asked last week, and if you were, did you have an answer to the a question about the Georgians agreeing to a Swiss proposal on the Russian WTO?
We
membership?
talked about this a little bit on Friday, that, as you know,
Someone may have on background, I'm not sure who it was.
That's true. I guess we did talk about it on background on Friday. So, I think you know we've been supportive of the Swiss effort to negotiate a solution between Russia and Georgia to customs and border issues that arise in the context of Russia's desire to have Georgia's support for its WTO membership. We obviously support Russia's membership in WTO. Our understanding is that the talks are going quite well. We're encouraged by the progress. They're not finished yet, however. The Georgians have accepted the Swiss proposal. The Russians are studying it. We're working through some of the remaining issues, or the Swiss are, and we remain hopeful that this will be a good avenue for resolving the outstanding issues. Good. Anything else? Saeed, one last one?
Following up on Andy's
Yeah.
question. If he were to sort of turn himself in, would he have to go, let's say, to any particular embassy, like the American embassy or the French embassy? What is the proper protocol in this case?
If he were to turn himself in for
To
justice,
the ICC,
I mean,
the international, you know.
well, there are many ways this can go. As you know, when the ICC has a warrant out for somebody, the options are either for ICC justice or for the host nation to make the case to the international community that it can pursue justice for these individuals to a standard that meets international standards. So either of those options would be on the table. He could turn himself in to authorities of the country where he may be, to the TNC, to an embassy, etc. Okay, thank you very much.